Welcome to Pilgrim's Rest Channel. Our dedication here is, well, it's to conduct these deep dives into the enduring spiritual books handed down through the ages. We try to extract the wisdom so you, the spiritual seeker, can find guidance and renewed strength on your pilgrimage.
And that wisdom, that's what truly matters. Today, we're undertaking a deep dive into a text that's really revered for its profound comfort. It's a book that offers, well, a gentle hand to the struggling soul. Richard Sibbes' The Bruised Reed.
The Bruised Reed. It sounds foundational, doesn't it? A historical masterpiece, really, of gentle theology that has sustained, well, countless believers over the centuries. Our mission today is to cut through all that time and pull out the crucial insights Sibbes offers, for the modern person.
Absolutely. And to appreciate the message, I think we really must start with the messenger himself, Richard Sibbes. He was born in 1577 and passed away in 1635. Quite a figure among the Puritans. They actually called him the sweet dropper.
The sweet dropper.
Yeah.
That's intriguing. Why?
Because of his amazing ability to convey really deep doctrine, but with incredible tenderness.
Okay, let's unpack that time frame. 1577 to 1635. I mean, that was an era of intense theological thinking, right? Often leading to, well, a lot of spiritual anxiety.
Oh, definitely. People were genuinely terrified of falling short of not meeting God's demands.
So for a book forged in that kind of stern climate to survive, 400 years, it tells you something, doesn't it? That the gentleness inside it was desperately needed back then. And it probably remains a necessary corrective for us now.
Precisely. You hit the nail on the head. Sibbes emerged when many preachers were focused so heavily on the law, on self-examination, which, often led people into despair. They were always looking for proof they were worthy somehow. Sibbes kind of flipped the script.
How so?
He looked at the spiritual landscape, saw the anxiety, and offered not another demand, but profound assurance. His insights remain intensely relevant for anyone today who might be struggling with self-condemnation or just that feeling of faith fatigue.
Okay, let's hone in on the title itself then, The Bruised Reed. It's immediately evocative,
Yeah.
Why do you think Sibbes chose this particular imagery? Frailty, damage. It doesn't exactly scream victory or strength.
Well, it's the genius of it, isn't it? The title is actually drawn from Isaiah, chapter 42, verse 3. It's describing the nature of Christ's ministry. And the phrase actually contains two images, not just one.
Two images, okay.
Yes. It says, "A bruised reed he will not break, and a smoking flax he will not extinguish."
Ah, okay. The full picture changes things quite a bit. So we're not just talking about a weak reed. There's also this smoking flax. That's where it gets really interesting for us trying to learn from this today.
Absolutely. Think about a reed first. It's hollow, right? Easily snapped, pretty much useless once it's bruised. Spiritually, this represents the individual who's wounded, maybe by sin or trials or even their own failures in faith. They feel like they're about to break completely.
Right. Fragile. Vulnerable.
Exactly.
And smoking flax, what's that about? Picturing like an old lamp wick.
That's a great way to picture it. Yeah, an old wick, maybe sputtering, giving off more smoke than actual light. It seems like it's on the verge of just going out completely.
Okay.
So Sibbes uses this to describe the most meager, the weakest expressions of faith. Maybe it's just a sigh towards God or a faint desire, perhaps even just a whispered prayer that feels like it barely gets off the ground.
And here's the key nugget of knowledge then, the thing that makes Sibbes endure.
Yes, I think this is it. He argues that the mere presence of smoke proves fire still exists, however small or weak it might seem. The bruised reed, the smoking flax, these aren't things Christ just discards or ignores. No, they're precisely where he directs his gentle attention.
Wow. That must have been, revolutionary for the 17th century believer.
Oh, absolutely. And it still is, really, for you, the listener, today. Sibbes is insisting that Christ doesn't require strength before he accepts you. He accepts you right in your weakness. So the gentleness of Christ, therefore, becomes the very foundation of Christian assurance, not your own performance.
But okay, Sibbes wrote for a different time, right? They had different spiritual worries, different cultural pressures. How do we make sure we're extracting genuine comfort for us today? And not just, high-minded theological jargon that doesn't really connect with the stresses of modern life. What is the secret to this book's longevity?
I think the book's endurance pretty much confirms that human spiritual struggles are, universal. They don't change that much over time. Sibbes is addressing that inner critic, the voice that looks at our feeble attempts at faith and declares, "I'm not religious enough," or maybe, "I failed too many times." The longevity comes from his unique approach to grace, focusing on Christ's reaction to our weakness.
So if we connect this to the bigger picture, Sibbes is kind of offering a shortcut away from that constant self-improvement exhaustion we feel.
That's a great way to put it, a shortcut.
He's saying maybe stop focusing so much on the strength or weakness of your faith and start focusing on the object of your faith, on Christ himself.
Precisely. And he gets into specific details to help with that. For instance, he makes a really helpful distinction between weakness and wickedness.
Okay. Weakness versus wickedness.
Right. The bruised reed is weak, yes, but it's still a reed. It hasn't become, say, a poisonous weed or something actively hostile. It's just damaged. He argues that often our biggest failures stem not from deliberate wickedness, but from our inherent human weakness, our frailty. And Christ is uniquely equipped, uniquely gentle in handling that frailty.
Can you give us maybe a more concrete example of this wisdom? Like, what specific encouragement does he offer to the person whose faith genuinely feels like it's just sputtering out like that smoking flax?
Well, Sibbes constantly reminds us that a person with weak faith is still considered incredibly precious to Christ. He says something memorable, and I'm paraphrasing a bit here, but it's like, a weak man is still a man, and a weak faith is still true faith.
A weak faith is true faith.
Yeah. The value doesn't lie in the degree of heat or light the flax gives off, you know. The value lies in the fact that it's been touched by the divine fire at all, that there's any spark there. Christ treasures that spark.
That continuity, understanding that people felt this way centuries ago, that's the core foundation, isn't it?
Yeah.
It serves as such a powerful reminder that the struggles we face today, the discouragement, the fear of failing God or ourselves, they're not new. Authors like Sibbes already walked this path. They left wisdom behind specifically to guide us. And knowing that kind of prevents us from feeling so isolated in our own personal vulnerability, you know?
Exactly. And this is how it directly impacts today's pilgrim, today's listener. Sibbes provides a historical antidote, really, to our modern performance-based spirituality. We live in a world that just idolizes strength, visible success, looking like you have it all together. Sibbes teaches that the true path to spiritual strength is actually through recognizing and resting in our weakness. It's about trusting the gentle nature of Christ to nurture that bruised reed back to life.
So he completely transforms the definition of spiritual maturity then. It moves away from this impossible ideal of perfection and toward, well, persistent reliance, trusting even when you feel weak.
Yes. He teaches that things like doubt aren't necessarily the opposite of faith. And exhaustion isn't automatically the end of hope. It's a powerful challenge to the way we often define ourselves spiritually. If we judge our spiritual health only by the visible flame, how much light we think we're producing, we'll almost always end up in despair at some point. But if we trust the gentleness of the gardener who tends the reed, who won't snuff out the flax, well, that's where we find immediate encouragement.
So what does this deep dive into the bruised reed really mean for you, the listener, today? Given this profound power we've discussed, found in this historical wisdom, maybe consider this final reflection. Where does true spiritual strength really lie? Is it in trying to project perfect success, always looking strong? Or could it be found in acknowledging your deepest weakness, your own bruised reedness, and leaning hard on the promise that even the faintest spark of faith will be handled with utter gentleness? Something to think about.
Indeed. And we wish you continued guidance and profound peace on your journey.
Thank you for joining us on Pilgrim's Rest Channel. See you next time.